Testing, testing. All right, I think we're live. Happy Monday. Today is Monday, October 27th. And this is our Q&A call for this week. My name's Alex. I'll be with you for the next 30 minutes or so. And this is going to be our last Q&A call of October for the rest of 2025. And then we'll do another one next week, same time. I'm going to be experimenting with doing these calls a little bit later in the day. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat. My name's Alex, like I mentioned. I'm a barbershop owner. I've been a barber since 2014. So that's when I got licensed. And a barbershop owner since 2015. So I don't claim to know all the answers, but I definitely feel like I can help you guys at least avoid some of the mistakes that I made when I was getting started. So let me adjust my camera a little bit for social media. Here we go. Let me see, that probably made it worse. Can you guys see me okay? Let me know in the chat if you can still see me. Yeah, that definitely made it worse. All right, here we go. Let's try that. Can you guys still see me? All right. Hopefully you can see me. Hopefully you can hear me okay. All right. So like I mentioned, I've been a barbershop owner since 2015, and we've done several millions in revenue to this point. So, and I think any barbershop can do it. Is it going to be easy? No. Is it attainable? Yes, absolutely. It took me a while to figure it out, and I think one of the main reasons why it took me a long time to figure it out is because I tried to do it on my own. And so if there's just one thing that you guys learn from me, it is that you should be trying to actively seek out mentors, coaches, investing in books, podcasts, watching YouTube videos, reading, joining masterminds. I mean, I have one, but you don't have to join mine. Just do something, right? Otherwise, it's going to take you so much longer to grow your business. I just shared a YouTube video last week, which was this one, my number one regret. I don't know if it's my number one, but it's certainly up there in terms of like the top lessons I've learned. And it is, I'll save you the main point is invest in yourself, invest in your education, right? Because it's going to take you so much longer to get to where you want to be if you think you can do it all on your own. Maybe you can, but man, you can get there so much faster with so much less stress if you just get somebody to help you along the way, right? So that's on my YouTube channel, Alex J the Barber, wherever you're watching this. And we got a question here, but I do want to answer a question that I had come up in the community, but I'll get to that in a second since Richie Rich, he just came right out of the gate with a question. I love it. All right, so I started marketing my business in May, and our client retention is sitting around 57%. Is that decent? Okay, great question. Is your client retention, are you looking at new client retention? Are you looking at repeat, or is this a blend of both? Because that'll kind of tell me whether it's good or bad, right? I guess it's also like, how are you tracking retention? Because one of the biggest lessons that I learned with retention was how it's a huge delay. Like it is a huge delay to learn when it actually becomes accurate. So for example, I just shared this morning with my team the retention for July, right, of this year. I don't want to share with you guys, but because I don't want to put some of my team on blast. Some of them are still working on retention, but it's still not accurate, right? Because we look at what is your retention window? Would be my next question, Richie, because we look at a 90-day window. So we're coming up on November here in a second, in a few days, and so when we get to November, I will consider July accurate. Like you can look at it You can look at next month's retention if you want, but I wouldn't consider it accurate until enough time has passed, because enough time has to pass before you have confidence in those numbers, right? So, and you could argue like, you could look at 30 days, 60 days, but I found that those numbers change a lot, right? So I think 90 days is kind of the shortest window that I look at for retention, because if you look any shorter than that, then it becomes a little inaccurate, or it just can change a lot after that. So I wouldn't consider your retention accurate until after 90 days. Well, that's personally what I do, right? And then we look at new and returning clients, or new and repeat clients, and then we look at a total, which is a blend of both. So new and returning is 57%. I would say that that's a little low. That means that almost half your clients aren't coming back. But like I mentioned, if you're looking too soon, like is that May's retention? Or because if it's May, then that's probably accurate, right? But if that's from like last month, well, then it's too soon. Like you don't know yet, So is that retention 57% total client retention? Is that from May, or is that from last month? Because if it's from last month, then you gotta wait. You gotta wait a little longer before you can consider that accurate. So that would be my answer. Like if that's accurate, then 57%, that would be a little low, right? Within the past 6 months. So is it from May? Or are you just looking at? We look at it monthly too. So like, how many people came in? Let's say in May. 3 months pass. Okay, how many people came back that came in May? But 57% is not terrible, right? Your business is technically growing, right? Because you're keeping more clients than you're losing, but it will grow faster the higher you get that number, right? So I'm going to try to find a graphic that I made in ChatGPT, but it's based on my actual numbers I started sharing this with my team, and maybe you guys will find it helpful. Or maybe it's on my Instagram, but I post a lot, so I'll have to scroll down way far. It might just be faster to show you the graphic that I share with my team. All right, I'm gonna try to cut their names out so you can't see. Or I can just zoom in. I don't know. Hold on one second. How long do you think it takes, while I'm pulling this up, how long do you guys think it takes to become fully booked as a barber? How many months? It's probably, the answer might surprise you. Well, how about I just give you the answer because I finished pulling it out. All right, so let me share my screen and you guys will see. And these are based on my numbers, so you guys, the numbers for your shop might be different, okay? Based on our numbers, because we get a lot of client volume, this is how long it takes to become fully booked. So, to the question earlier, if you are between 50 and 60% client retention, and we're talking about total here, then it's going to take you several years to become fully booked, right? And so you're going to become fully booked eventually if your number stays there, right? But a lot of barbers want to move faster than that. So if you want to get booked faster, well, then you got to move the needle, right? You got to keep more of the clients that are coming in. One graphic that I shared, which is, it's kind of hard to see, but I'll zoom in a little bit so you guys can see. It's a thumbnail on one of my YouTube videos. This one right here. Yeah. So as you can see, like on the left, I don't want to hover over it too much, but on the left-hand side, there's a bucket with no holes. On the right-hand side, there's a bucket with lots of holes. So this represents your business if you have high retention versus low retention. So the bucket on the right is going to fill up a lot slower than the one on the left. Same amount of water, same amount of clients being poured in, but the one on the right is going to take way longer, right? So you can either pour more water in, get more clients, or what I would prefer is to figure out why are they leaving? And try to solve that problem. Try to plug those leaks, right? Because unless you want it to take several years or never to get fully booked, then you got to figure out how to keep those clients coming back. So one of the ways we talk about doing that in my community is go to the classroom. We have a course, rebooking. This is a course on how to get your clients to rebook before they leave. It's the easiest way that you can start moving the needle, right? Just to get your clients to come back more frequently is like something any barber can start doing right now. It doesn't cost anything, right? But if you wanted a more advanced tactic, then you can go here. There's a membership course, and this will virtually guarantee that your clients will come back, right? If you get them on a membership, because they're paying every single month for their haircut, so they're gonna come back. So this course goes over how to set up a membership. But either way, the game is keep more of your clients coming back. The better you are at that, the faster your shop will grow. It took me a really long time to learn that lesson, right? And also as a barbershop owner, the barbers that have high client retention are going to make you way more money and therefore are way more valuable and make more money than the barbers that have low client retention. Right. So the barbers that have high client retention usually make more because they deserve it, because they're keeping more of the clients coming in, which means the barbershop owner doesn't have to spend as much money marketing because we're just keeping the same people coming back over and over and over again. The barberologist wants to know, how long does your average men's haircut take to complete at your shop? Well, we give our barbers 30 minutes, so that's the time standard. The only exception to that would be if somebody books a premium haircut, because we have two types of haircuts. We have a classic haircut, which is 30 minutes. That's the majority of what we do. And then we have our premium haircut, which is 45 minutes. So we give the barbers 45 minutes to do that. And we encourage new clients to book the premium haircut so that we have more time with them, because we found that by spending more time with new clients, that it actually helps our new client retention, because they feel like they're getting a great, and we don't charge them for it, for that extra time. So they get the premium haircut, the 45-minute service, for the price of a classic. And everybody wins, right? We retain them better. The barbers get more time because they were complaining to me that new clients take longer, and sometimes they do, right? Sometimes people will come in and they don't know what they want, or they haven't had a haircut in 2 years, right? And they want this whole transformation. So we tested it, and it turns out that spending more time with new clients actually does make sense because we retain them better if we do that. So that we just made that permanent, right? But it's either 30 minutes or 45. Some barbers take longer, but that's the time standard, right? If at my shop, if you can do a good haircut in 30 minutes consistently, you're going to be okay, right? If you take longer than that, you're not really going to reach your full earning potential, right? Because our pay, everything is based on your ability to do at least 2 haircuts an hour. So if you're only doing 1 per hour, then your earning potential is cut in half, right? So hopefully that answered your question. But I wanted to share with you guys something I just shared with my team. And I think I've mentioned it before on this call, but some of you guys are tuning in for the first time. So I want to hear your thoughts on this. Let me see if I can fit it. Here we go. All right, let me share my screen so you guys can see what I'm looking at. So I made this for my team because I have a manager meeting with my team, with my managers every week. And then I had a meeting with my assistant managers recently. And I think that a lot of barbers don't know how to make themselves more valuable. So that was my goal by making this, because there's only 5 ways that I know of to grow a barbershop. These are the only 5 ways that I know of. If you guys can think of any more, type them in the chat. But they're probably going to be a sub point of one of these, like I have here, right? So let me go through each one, and then if you guys have questions on this, just type them in the chat, right? Because this is so important. This took me a long time, but basically this was helpful for me because this is what you should be doing if you want to make yourself more valuable as a barber. There's 5 things. You want to know how to get clients. You want to know how to get barbers. You want to know how to get clients to spend more, how to get barbers to produce more, or you need to figure out how to increase profit by either decreasing costs or increasing revenue, or by creating a whole new revenue stream. So if it's not one of these 5 things, then you are wasting your time, right? Because some of my managers will have time blocked out, right? And they'll spend the entire time cleaning, organizing, right? That's not on this list, right? So it is not a good use of your time, right? And those things are important. I'm just saying, if you want to make yourself more valuable as a barber, once you know how to do good haircuts, you have to learn one of these skills. And the more skills you know, the more valuable you become. The barbershop owners have to know all 5, how to do all 5 of these things. Okay, so the first 2, we'll go through what each one means now, right? So the first 2, knowing how to get barbers and knowing how to get clients, this is just marketing. This is being a rainmaker. This is knowing how to get people to come to your place of business, whether to get their haircut or to come work for you, right? So these are marketing skills, right? And by the way, I know how to do all 5 of these things. This is why I'm the barbershop owner, right? So these are just marketing skills. Knowing how to get clients to spend more. This is what you as a barber have direct control over, right? So the barbers that are really, really good at this make more money, right? How do you get clients to spend more? Well, you can upsell services, you can sell products, or you can get them to come more frequently. That's rebooking or memberships, or you can retain them longer so that they end up spending more over their lifetime as a customer. So the barbers that know how to do number 3 are way more valuable than a barber that doesn't, right? Because this is the only 5 ways to grow a barbershop. Again, if you guys know of another way, let me know. Put it in the chat. How to get barbers to produce more. This is where managers come in, right? Or you as a barbershop owner. If you want to become more valuable, if you want to make your business more valuable, or if you want to be more valuable to the barbershop owner, then you got to get good at this. And this is usually what a manager does. You try to get barbers to produce more. So there's just 2 examples of that. But like culture, keeping the culture of the shop strong, making sure everybody's working together well, fixing problems as they happen, getting the barbers outside, doing fun things with each other, right? Culture, like team building stuff. That helps barbers to produce more because they stay longer. They're happier when they're at work. If they're making friends, then that ultimately ends up making the business money, right? And it makes it a good place for them to work, right? Because that retains barbers, right? When you get, just like retaining clients is really important because you end up making way more money off the same client because they come back longer. Retaining barbers is also super important. And these 2 things, retaining clients and retaining barbers, I think are absolutely related, right? Because if you can't retain your barbers, you're going to have a hard time retaining clients. We're in the people business, right? And a lot of clients like to see the same faces over and over. They like to see the same barber. So if you have a revolving door of barbers, then you're probably going to have a revolving door of clients. I was struggling a few years ago to figure out why our retention sucked. And it's because we weren't doing this. All right, we weren't focusing on this. I didn't think that this was important. I'm telling you now that probably don't be surprised if my content starts to shift over the next few years, because this is something I'm realizing is way more important than I thought. I did not put enough emphasis into building a culture where people love to work and investing in your team and doing things together, right? Because I'm not motivated by that stuff, right? But a lot of people are. So this is definitely something that you want to be thinking about if you haven't been doing this. And then the last thing is increasing profit, right? This is usually the first thing that people think about, but it's honestly probably, and you absolutely should look for ways that you can cut costs, get the same things cheaper, become more efficient, right? And definitely save this for last. I would maybe don't even think about this right now, creating a new revenue stream, but you can look for ways to help your business, or if you're a barber working for somebody else, how can we spend less on supplies or spend less on payroll or or increase revenue somehow, or at the very least, once you've gotten all these things down, okay, maybe it's time, maybe think about creating a whole new revenue stream, right? That's what we're trying to do with our YouTube channel, by the way. With our barbershop, it doesn't make a lot of money right now, but 10 years from now, YouTube could be a whole business by itself, for our barbershop. So these are the only 5 ways that I know of. So if you're a barber working for somebody else, I'm telling you right now, you don't have to go out on your own to make more money. You just have to learn more skills, right? Because if you only know how to cut hair, and even if you're really good at retaining clients, that's only one of the 5 skills on this list, right? If you know how to do any one of these things, in addition to that, then you become more valuable, and probably the barbershop owner can afford to pay you more, right? So you're not underpaid. You're just underskilled. You need to learn more skills so that you can command a higher wage. And the barbershop owner would be happy to pay it, right? Because you're just making their life way easier. Does that make sense to you guys? It took me a long time to figure out. Right? It took me a really long time. Any questions on that? Type them in the chat. My barber's struggling to get rebooks. They get hit with objections and don't want to be pushy and salesy. So now is a good time. Now is probably the easiest time of the year to get people to rebook, because you got the holidays coming up. So you can say it, and it's true that, like, if you don't book it now, we're going to be really busy leading up to the holidays, right? So you sure? So a lot of people, how many times I overcome that objection of, so it's always the same shit, right? When people don't want to rebook clients, it's always the same excuses. I don't know my schedule. I'll just book it online. I'll play it by ear, right? I'll call. But the thing is, you guys should know that the next 2 months are going to be some of the busiest times for our business. And if they wait till last minute, they're going to have a hard time getting in. So use that right now. Use it. You say, we're going to be crazy busy next month and the month after, November and December. I strongly recommend you book it now. And then you say no. They're going to say no, right? And then you just hit them with, are you sure? Right? And this is another thing that a lot of barbers don't think about, but if you charge cancellations and no-show fees, good luck trying to rebook your clients, right? Because there's a built-in punishment there, right? Why would they want to rebook if you're going to charge them for not showing up? So we got rid of cancellation and no-show fees like 2 years ago, and because we noticed it was really hard to get clients to rebook, and then our website conversion, like people going to our website to book an appointment, sucked when we had the card on file requirement. Or people would, instead of booking online, they would start calling us, which is even worse, because now we had to stop in the middle of a haircut to go answer the phone. But if you're having trouble getting clients to rebook, it's probably because the clients don't think that they should, is the main thing, or the barbers don't think that they should. So you could do like a rebooking contest. I don't know if I've done it. It works. Like whoever has the highest rebooking percentage gets whatever. You can do the same thing for clients. Whoever rebooks their appointment gets entered into a prize. But ultimately, you don't want to depend on that, right? You just want to make it a habit every single time. So it's one of those things that it's hard to get barbers to start doing it. But on a slow day, when they're the only ones busy because they rebooked all of their clients, that's when they start to see. Right? Rebooking is hard to get barbers to do because there's not an immediate reward for it. When you sell a product, so think about this, like the feedback loop, right? When you finish a haircut, you get paid right then. And in some cases, they put the cash in your hand, the tip. So there's an immediate reward for doing a haircut. Selling a product, like when our barbers sell a product, they get paid a commission on that, but they don't see that commission for another week, right? So the feedback is way delayed, right? In the future, I hope that we can pay them like instantly. The second they sell a product, instantly hits their bank account, right? And rebooking it takes even longer. It takes even longer to see the results of that because they have to wait weeks or months before they see the benefit, right? And then retention is the way furthest one away, right? You could start doing something today as a barber to start increasing your retention, but you're not going to see a difference. You're not going to notice a difference for 3 months. So it's really hard to get barbers to understand the importance of rebooking your retention because there's such a delay from the time you start doing it, from the time you see the reward. So you as the leader sometimes have to maybe create some short-term rewards to get them to start doing it. And then once the barbers have been trained on doing it, and more importantly, the clients have been trained on doing it, then it's not so hard to get them to keep doing it. Right? But it is definitely an uphill battle to get somebody, especially to barbers, to try to rebook. It also could be a symptom of another problem. Like if your barbers are constantly running behind on their appointments, they're gonna suck at everything, right? Like just to be honest, like if barbers that struggle with haircut times usually suck at everything else, right? So they're not good at selling products. They're not good at rebooking. Sometimes they still have good retention, but all the numbers that grow the business, they may not be really good at because they don't have time. Like if you don't have a receptionist, they don't have time to talk about rebooking. They don't have time to talk about products because they're running behind all day, right? So sometimes the problem isn't the thing that you think it is. Sometimes it's actually the result of a different problem. So just a little something to think about there, right? It's just no coincidence now that whenever we have a barber, not in every case, we still have some barbers that are still working on their haircut time, but are great at membership sales and great at product sales. But usually when we have a barber that's struggling with haircut times, they also struggle with other stuff, right? Because they don't have time. They just don't have time to talk about it. Do you recommend a new barber out of barber college with no previous experience to work at Quick Clips or Supercuts, or would a traditional barbershop be better? So I'm a big fan of new barbers going to the busiest place they can find, right? So unless it's somebody who has experience, which you said it's somebody who doesn't, I would try to find the busiest barbershop you can find, or a place that like a Great Clips or Supercuts or Sport Clips, or there's a lot of franchise barbershops now. Just try to find the place that can, if you're still learning how to cut hair, then go somewhere that just feeds you clients, so that all you have to worry about is getting better at cutting hair. That's it, right? You don't have to worry about marketing or how am I going to make the booth rent this week. Like, no, fuck that. You're still learning how to cut hair. So all you got to do, it's actually super easy. Right? All you got to do is find somewhere that is going to keep you busy, right? And I wouldn't even worry about the pay, because if you don't have clients, you're probably going to make more money getting paid minimum wage at some chain place than going and sitting in a booth rent shop for 10 hours and doing one haircut, right? So you got to fix the skill problem first. Once you have the skill, then you can think about, okay, do I want to go somewhere where there's higher earning potential and maybe bring some clients with me, right? If that's the case. So I would absolutely 100%, without a doubt, go as a new barber. I would try to, and this is exactly what I did, by the way, right? I didn't start a barbershop right out of school. I went and found the busiest barbershop that I could, and that's where I started. And that was an excellent decision. I was doing like 20 haircuts a day, fresh out of school, right? That's why that's the only reason I was able to go from not knowing how to cut hair to opening a barbershop in 13 months. Fresh out of school to opening a barbershop in 13 months is because the first shop I picked was a great place to start. It was the place that fed me walk-ins and appointments all day, so I got really good really fast. If you're not doing 10, 15 haircuts a day as a new barber, it's going to take you so much longer to get good. Like you got to do volume, right? And so to the next question of how do you train your barbers to get a haircut done in 30 minutes? Well, you kind of have to set the standard, right? Like this is the way it is here, but there are some things that we've used to help with this. So I talk about this in my share my screen here. I have a course in my group. So it's, let's see, how to cut hair faster. All right, so this course took me a year to make, probably more. So all these tips about, and what's cool about this as a barbershop owner, if you're in this community, you can actually like learn this stuff and then pass it on to your team. Like, why not? You know, so as a barbershop owner, getting education. Let me share my screen again. As a barbershop owner, when you pay for education, when you invest in coaches and mentors and, you know, books, courses, you get way more out of it than just a regular barber, because you can not only use that knowledge yourself, but you can pass it on to your team. You could even share it with your team, right? I've spent over $20,000 in courses, coaching, education, and I give it to my team, right? Whether they watch it or not is another story, but they have access to all of it, right? So that's the cool thing about, as a barbershop owner, investing in education. So the cool one thing that we've done is we've had educators come out to our shop and actually show us how to cut hair faster. We actually recorded some of this stuff and we put it inside the community. So no, that's not it. We have a class recordings right here, and this is actually free. Some of the courses in this community aren't free, but this one is free. You just have to unlock it by engaging in the community. So Ivan Zoot, some of you guys might know who he is. He is a world record breaker for the fastest haircut, and he's come to our shop twice to talk about how to cut hair faster. So this is the first time. He came out in March of 2022, and then he came out again, I think it was like last year, right? We recorded the whole class. I paid him thousands of dollars to do this, by the way, but I recorded the whole thing and I made it available for free inside the community. Like I said, though, you got to level up. So, you know, this is like level 7, but it's free. You just got to level up, right? So that's one method. You can get people who know how to do 30-minute haircuts to come out and show you guys, right? Another method is you can, what I think it's the step down method, right? So let's say your average haircut time is an hour, right? All right, so next week we're gonna try to get it done in 55 minutes, right? And the week after that, maybe we try to get it done in 50. So instead of going from 60 minutes to half an hour, you just slowly step the time down, right? Until eventually 30 minutes is normal. And it's going to be tough at first, right? And it's normal to run behind every now and then. But the idea is you at some point you should be able to do a haircut in 30 minutes or less. I think that, especially if you're not doing super advanced haircuts, I mean, if you're taking longer than 30 minutes on a haircut, I mean, you're probably not making as much money as you could be as a barber. I mean, when I opened my shop, I was doing 15-minute haircuts. So 4 haircuts an hour, you know? And then that was a lot. So then I dialed it back. So we went from 15 minutes to 20, and then from 20 to 25, and then now we're at 30. So it is absolutely possible to do a good haircut in 30 minutes. But it's going to take effort, right? It's not just going to happen. And you got to push them. You got to push them to do it. So those are 2 methods that I go over a lot more in the course, you know, on how to lower your haircut times. Timing yourself naturally is a great way to lower your haircut times. Recording yourself, so you can record yourself do a haircut and then watch it back, like watching the game tape footage. That way you can see, because sometimes people don't believe you, right? If you just give them feedback, but you could show them, like you can record it, you know, and just show them, like, just watch. You don't have to say anything. Like, a lot of times people will see themselves like, oh, no wonder that step's taking me so long, right? So I don't know, was that helpful? But there's a lot of ways you can do it. The main thing is the mindset, right? Like the clippers can do it. Your hands can do it. Your body can do it. It's the mindset that is holding you back, right? So if they don't want to do it in 30 minutes, that's a different story. But it's not physically impossible to do a good haircut in 30 minutes. Anybody can do it. The clippers can do it. Your hands can physically move that fast, right? So it's usually a mindset problem. Usually it's like quality over quantity mindset that barbers have. I think that's an excuse to just not want to try, right? And I think there's a lot of influencers out there that are preaching, one haircut an hour or do 4 haircuts and you're done. Just charge $200, and if you can get that, great. But that's not the way the real world works for most barbers. Most barbers would make more if they just cut faster. And like we have a new barber that we just hired, fresh out of school. And I was telling him that it's not really about cutting faster. It's about just being more efficient. Because some of my most efficient barbers, the ones that are always on time, like they're not moving very fast. It's just they've just done such a good job at removing every unnecessary step of the haircut. So when I was explaining it to him the other day, I was telling him I think about it as like a haircut audit. And then this is why recording yourself do a haircut is super useful. Because you want to look at yourself and you want to watch yourself do the haircut and you just see all the wasted movement. Man, I picked up that guard 4 times, or man, I would probably not have to walk as much if I just stand it in one spot and turn the chair instead of walking around, Like, instead of starting with the sides, maybe if I started with the top, then I don't have that stupid ring that I have to blend in again, right? Like there's these little things that if you audited the way you do a haircut, you could probably find a lot of ways to finish faster without even physically moving faster. So, I think about it as, learning how to cut hair faster is about subtraction. It's not about addition. It's not about what do we have to add. A lot of times it's not about your tools are fine. You don't need to buy new tools. It's just that you're doing too many steps. You need to figure out what can you eliminate from your process so that the end result is that you finish faster. It's not that we're rushing, or it's not that we're even moving the clippers faster. It's just that we're doing less steps, right? It's like you're taking a shortcut instead of going the long way. End result's still going to be a good haircut. We're just trying to do it in the minimal amount of steps possible. So hopefully that was helpful for you. But that's something I'm passionate about because even from barber school, I knew that I was slow at cutting hair. It was my average haircut time when I graduated from barber school was 45 minutes average. So sometimes it took longer, right? And then I went to a barbershop where the time standard was 15 minutes. So a ton of pressure. And it took me probably 3 months, maybe 6, but I got it down. So haircutting did not come natural to me. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. You just have to want it, right? That's the number one thing. If somebody wants to get faster, then they will. They'll figure out a way. Sometimes people need a push, Sometimes you need to do the math for them. Like, this is how much more you can make if you just shave 15 minutes off your haircut time. Not everybody's motivated by money, though. I'll tell you that. Some people just come to work to just hang out, not even to make money. So it really depends on the mindset of your barbers. Unfortunately, it's not as easy as social media might make it seem. Great, I'm glad that helped you. Any last questions before I hop off? It's been a good call today. I did take 45 minutes, but I put a lot of detail into it. Do you think the extra details truly matter, or is it wasted time? Okay, so let me just say this. there is not like a certain haircut time that everybody has to get a haircut done in. It really depends on your pricing and the cost of running your business. So this is like getting deep into pricing strategy now, right? But if you need to make, let's say, $100 an hour to run your business and make a profit, then you have different ways that you can get there. You can do one haircut and charge $100 and spend an hour on it, right? Or you can do 30-minute haircuts and charge $50. Or you can do 15-minute haircuts and charge $25. As long as you're doing 4 per hour, you're making $100 an hour. I don't know what the math is on 45 minutes, but like 75. I don't know. But does that make does that make sense? Like, if 45 minutes works for you, then great. As long as you're charging for that, right? As long as you're charging for the time. And I think that whether the details matter or not, that is entirely up to your clients, right? If you're fully booked all day, every day, then maybe it does matter. If you're not fully booked, maybe you're doing too much. Maybe you would make more by just seeing more clients, And I think it's important to be adaptable too, because some clients don't care for all the little details too. So some people do. Some people do want you to spend 45 or an hour on them, right? The majority of people, in my experience, at least the clients that I work with in my shop, they want to get in and out. They're not trying to be in the chair for 45 minutes, an hour. I know this because that's what our retention says. That's what the numbers tell me. The barbers that do 30-minute haircuts have higher retention than the ones that do 45-minute haircuts or hour-long haircuts. So that tells me our clients don't care about the extra time or the little details or the enhancements, right? They don't give a shit. Because the barbers that aren't doing that stuff are the ones that stay busy. So it's really about who's in your chair and what they value. So the only thing I will say is that you just have to be adaptable as a barber. Some clients like that stuff, some clients don't. You got to be able to know when to tell the difference. So as long as you're charging for the time, though, it really does not matter how much you spend on a haircut. You can spend 2 hours. That's what they do in salons, but they're going to pay $300 for that, So it is totally up to you. But if you want to make more money, one of the easiest ways is to just try to figure out how to do the same quality. Because we're not trying to sacrifice quality, right? That's not the end goal of this. We're trying to get the same thing, but in less time. And a lot of what slows barbers down has nothing to do with their skill, right? A lot of times they're just talking. They're just talking too much. Or they're just doing too many steps, right? Talking definitely slows barbers down more than having the wrong clipper or not knowing how to do a haircut. Like, all my barbers know how to do good haircuts. It's the ones that struggle with time are usually the ones that spend more time talking than cutting. That's it, right? Or they're just doing the same haircut, but they're just doing it in like 100 steps when they probably could do it in like 30, Great. Glad that was helpful for you, man. All right, so let me share my screen one more time. This is my free community, guys, by the way. It's 100% free to be inside. It's skool.com/barbers. This is where all the courses are that I talked about in today's call. There's over 3,000 barbers in here. And if you guys want to stay in touch with me in between these calls, this is the place to do it. You can post questions inside the community, and I'll try to answer them, as well as the other barbers that are inside the community. It's just a place for us to connect with each other. And so it's 100% free. 100% free to be inside. So if you guys want to check that out, the link is in my bio wherever you're watching this. And next week, I think we'll stick with this time for now. This 4 p.m. Eastern time seems to be a good time for everybody. So I'll see you then. All right. Bye.